Welcome to Connected, where no topic is off topic. I am your host, Kimberly Dam. Hello, welcome back. I'm actually introing a episode that I recorded back, God, it must have been, I'm guessing July? It must have been July because there was a tropical storm coming in. Anyway, it was Isaias. It was when Isaias was coming into North Carolina. But anyway, I'm introing an episode that I had recorded then. That was before I decided that I was going to take a little break and a much needed break before starting the second season. So, yeah, I don't really want to preface it with anything else other than I am recording this intro the day after the election. And as you know, or as you remember at this point, we still don't know who the president is. And so this episode is completely relevant. It doesn't matter what you are experiencing in life, what is going on. It's just essentially the lesson that our external does not have to affect our internal, and that actually our external is a direct reflection of our internal. So here we go. I want to talk about something that I've been witnessing a lot in the spiritual community, and I want you to understand that I am aware of my own judgment around this. I'm going to try to deliver this episode without a lot of judgment, but I definitely do have some judgment over it, simply because it just like impacts so many people, and I feel the same way about everything else that we're kind of experiencing in terms of anybody who spreads information, knowledge, or news. And if that puts me in that same boat, then I understand the irony in that as well, and the hypocrisy. So I welcome it all because I see all the aspects of myself, and whatever. Let's just embrace it all, shall we? Okay, so what I've been witnessing recently in the spiritual community is there is a general belief right now that we are going through a mass awakening. Do I believe that this is occurring? Yes, because we are all experiencing the same thing on a global level. And so, whether you consider that thing the virus, or whether you consider that thing restrictions, or whether you consider that thing a quote unquote new normal, I do not like using terms repeatedly, but there it is. If we're all experiencing this, right? So whenever we have a massive change, or just we experience something on a mass scale, of course there are going to be some awakenings that are going to occur because people's lives will be changed. And depending on what their perspective is, it can be changed for the better or it can be changed for the worse. We all understand that our perspective is our reality. And so it is important for us to get really crystal clear on what it is we individually want our perspective to be, because, it is not only for our individual reality, but it is for the collective reality as well. Now, what I'm seeing, okay, so there's this belief system, right? But what I'm seeing in the spiritual community that I have honestly been in complete shock over, and it's actually quite shook me. I think it's honestly part of the reason I saw it around the time that I actually made the authority episode, because there were some people that I, really trusted within the spiritual community. And I started to kind of see their masks. And it was really interesting. And I've seen more of those masks come out in various different ways. The one that I'm going to address today is I'm having a problem because there is a lot of future predicting going on in the spiritual community. There's a lot of, and elsewhere, but I'm primarily bringing up the spiritual community because to me, if you are going to stand as a beacon of light for other people, then you need to be a beacon of light for other people. And what I am seeing is I'm seeing basically predictions being made about the future that are essentially fear-based realities. that, that things are going to get a lot worse before they get better, that there's going to be a lot more restrictions, that chaos is going to ensue over the planet, and there's going to be great amounts of scarcity and suffering because of it. And okay, so here's why I'm going to make an argument for all of this. Number one, I have an issue with people predicting the future, period. Um, I know that we all generally have an idea as to what we think is going to happen. And while it is completely your prerogative to make those assumptions, to make those predictions, it's really dangerous, in my opinion, when prominent spiritual teachers and leaders do it, because they cannot predict the future. Speaking as a somewhat psychic person, I can tell you that those of us that have really honed in on our psychic abilities, we all have them, by the way, but those of us that have really honed in on it, we understand that when we are playing in that space, we are literally just being fed a tiny thread of consciousness. Okay. And what we see or interpret, hear, see within that thread doesn't necessarily mean that that thing is going to happen. That is like saying every single dream that I have will come true. Okay. Everything that I experience basically in my dream state will come true. Okay. I do not believe that. If anything, what I would tell you is this: what's really kind of, this is like where it's so backwards, right? Because I feel like if you truly are in alignment, you understand that there is no past, there is no future, that honestly, what you are feeling right now is the very determinant of what and how you view the past and how you view and see the future. So it's an oxymoron. It's completely opposite of everything that I've experienced in terms of being in alignment. You cannot make a prediction about the future. You can try, but here's my thing, okay? Even if you as an individual have tapped in to a thread of consciousness, okay? And you're like, "Oh shit, I think I was just shown something." I I feel that we need to be, that in general, you should be really, really careful about sharing that and really integrating it into what you actually believe is going to happen. The reason for that is because if you understand how manifestation works, if you understand that our perspective is our reality, you can manifest a future that essentially you don't want. And so, what concerns me is not only are you essentially delivering news to people and taking them, removing the focus on the now, just bypassing the importance of the now, but you are speaking a future that is very much based and rooted in fear. It's a fear-based reality. And so what's really been interesting is I'm just like, whoa, 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 wait a second. What happened to being love? What happened to recognizing that the only thing that is important is what's happening right now? And that affects, quote unquote, the future and the past. Because time is not linear, so that it doesn't even really exist. But let's just entertain the idea that it does. That is what affects it. And also within that, why not say, hey, look, I don't know what's going, because if you have a whole bunch of followers that still have not tapped into the understanding that the only time is now, and that the time is not linear, and that there is no essential future and there is no essential past, if you have followers that aren't quite there yet, so if you are going to if you are going to still entertain that idea, then why not say, look, I have no idea what the future brings, but I do know this. I know that we have the power. I know the power of manifestation. I know that our perspective is our reality. I know that presence is important. I know that us being balanced is important. That is that is what we should be holding space for. That is what we should be kind of guiding people towards. I could give a rat's ass. Sorry, but I could give a rat's ass as to what you think is going to happen. I only care about what I want to happen. And I believe that everybody, that's where we need to be sitting. That's where we need to be sitting. I am not saying that you put your head in the sand. I am not saying that you don't stay informed. But what I am saying is that you be mindful of the information that you take in. You be mindful of what that does to your body. How do you feel? If you're taking in information and it feels like shit inside of your body, if you feel run down, if you feel scared, if you feel like there's no hope, if you feel depressed, then you need to shut that shit off. Because if I know anything, you guys, it's that when you don't feel good, you're out of alignment. Plain and simple. It really is as simple as that. I'm not saying that you should spiritual bypass all over the place. Feel your feelings. Do it. Because if you watch something and you feel like shit afterwards, and if you end up crying your eyes out because you're so scared, that's important. It's important for you to go through the process of emotionally feeling your feelings so you can sit there and say, hey, I'm fucking scared. Why am I so scared? Well, maybe just because I watched this program that told me that A, B, and C was going to happen. And now I've lost hope. That's important. I'm not saying bypass. But what I am saying is focus on what it is that you want to bring into the world. And if you come across others where they're not matching what you're matching, I'm not, I would never tell anybody to cut somebody out of their life, but just be mindful of that. Be mindful that you might not be energetically matched up right now and that is okay. It doesn't mean that you have to discontinue a relationship. It's just okay. But just be aware of it. But just, please, like, if you come across this information, just remember who you are. We have so much magic in our hearts. And I purely believe that while we could make a case that people do not authentically awaken unless they experience a ton of shit, myself included, I know I went through it. It's like addicts, they got to hit rock bottom. Totally get it. But I also believe that there can be a conscious, if a dismantling needs to occur, which it does, let's face it, it's time, it can be from a conscious place. Maybe not for everybody, but for those that are already seeking spirituality, for those already seeking alignment, for those already on the path as a spiritual teacher, leader, speaker, whatever, you should be sharing the light aspects of what you know. And I'm not saying that you need to conceal your psychic abilities, but this is where humility comes in. I've seen a lot of the shit that I have seen. Like I have detected a lot of energy moving and I've seen it and it has come true. I'm not going to tell you that it hasn't. But I also know that there is a ton of shit that I was exposed to that never did happen. And that we should be, whatever information we receive in those moments, we should be very delicate with who we repeat those to. I don't see how you telling people that things are just going to get worse, that there's going to be another lockdown. I don't even want to, like, I'm going to be blatantly honest here. I don't even want to speak these words because I understand that I am giving it intention. I am giving it, well, I'm not really giving it intention, but I'm giving it attention and focus. And I understand that my voice is energy. And so I don't even want to speak it. But I think you all know what I'm talking about. I don't understand how us discussing what we think is going to happen is serving the expansion of our consciousness. Because to be honest, even if we are talking about what we think is going to happen, it's all on a very 3D level. Who gives a shit? This is where I get like, it's so weird. It's like, it's again, like it's double speak. And what's so interesting is we talk about double speak when it comes to politicians. We talk about double speak when it comes to mainstream media. And to be honest, there's just a lot of people in the community right now that I am seeing do the exact same thing. It doesn't matter to me what mouth it's coming out of. If you are speaking fear and you are speaking it to a lot of people and you are speaking it repeatedly and you're not providing any real, tangible hope, love, joy, whatever, humor, then what are you doing? We're so much powerful than all of this. That's all I have to say. And I definitely know that this episode may come off as judgmental, that I'm judging, I don't even consider them my peers because I don't really consider myself a spiritual teacher. But I know that it could come off as judgmental. I know that it could come off as righteous. I know. Hypocritical, ironic. And I still don't care because I would rather tell you that your perspective is everything. And how this world proceeds is basically based off of all of our individual perspectives. And so obviously there's varying degrees to that. And all we can hope and pray for is that there is that one that, that love slightly outweighs the fear. Okay, guys, remember who you are. I love you. If this episode served you, I would really appreciate it if you would rate it, maybe write a review. You can even write a review about how judgmental I was. And, if you have any comments or you have any topics that you would like me to discuss in the quote unquote future, please feel free to drop me a line at connectedpodcast.us@gmail.com. Again, I appreciate you. Stay well.